being able to speak is not the same as not speaking. You seem as if you like to talk. I like to let people talk who like to talk. It makes it easier to find out how full of shit they are.
What the hell did you just say?
You are the new student. Come closer.
You're listening to the Kung Fu Podcast presented by James Still.
Anybody who has some knowledge of Kung Fu can easily defeat you.
And Steve Newby.
Man, you come right out of a comic book.
If you flash him, even for an instant, a defiant eye, he'll pluck it out. And if you throw any American sass his way, he'll snap your back and your neck like they were twigs.
Yeah, okay.
You know, because I'm in a bit of a serious, pissed off mood today.
Oh,
but
right,
I'm not going to tell you why, because, you know, I can't tell you why.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to mention it. I have been. Anyway, right, guys, welcome. No, I'm not pissed off. I tell you what, it's like when my dad used to look at me, he says, I'm not pissed off with you, James. I'm just disappointed. That's what I'm just disappointed. But we shall say no more. Anyway, guys, welcome to the Kung Fu Podcast. This is episode 35 with me, James Still, all the way from the UK, and Mr. Newbie. Hello, all the way from
Now I
Canada.
got it wrong last time, so which way am I supposed to go? That way
I'm
or
going
that way?
that way. I'm on. So you go. Go. Point somewhere. There. That's the way you're going, and I'm going this way.
I did that last time, I'm sure.
Oh, then point that way. Then. Oh yes, you're that way because I'm mirrored and you're not. So you go like that. Okay. There you go. We got it. That's right.
We'll try that.
Yeah. Anyway, guys. Right. We've had a average week in the week of us. We're gonna start straight off into it. So today, what we're going to be talking about is we are actually going to be talking about some kung fu. Actually, that's unfair because we always talk about kung fu. It's just, you know, we'll keep it kung fu today. Less complaining. Oh no, that's not right. We'll probably end up complaining anyway. But we're going to talk about I can't hear you. Have you got a voice? Hello?
Can you? I am spoken.
Oh no! I thought I saw your mouth moving, and I thought the mic had cut out. But obviously, you're fine. Anyway, guys, we're going to be talking about lineage, authenticity, and why so many martial artists consider it important. We'll also be discussing applications of sets and sort of, you know, how we kind of get to that stage and what's important, what's not, possibly. Again, opinion piece. But, you know. And also, we'll be focusing on the difference between logisticians and intellectualists, okay, in martial arts. Because generally speaking, you're either one or the other. And
Can't spell either of them.
Can't spell either of them. I don't know. Just sounds good. So generally speaking, you're either one or the other. So that's logisticians versus intellectualists. Anyway, so we're going to talk about lineage because it came to my attention the other day that, do you remember Lau Gar? Do you remember him?
I've heard the name.
Oh, we've heard the name. Well, anyway, let me just remind you. This is Lau Gar.
Now listen here, you mullet.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
100,000 sperm, and you were the fastest.
You are the kind of club-toting, raw meat-eating, me Tarzan, you Jane, big ball bubblehead that can only count to 10 if he's barefoot or wearing sandals.
You're what the French call les incompetents.
Don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns.
Okay. So that was... I just started jogging memory. Do you remember him now? You remember them.
I remember all those.
Remember all those. Anyway, so Lau Gar has been posting again on a YouTube channel. This was a couple of months ago, mind you, and it only came to my attention the other day. But he was replying recently. Anyway, and this was on the YouTube channel Monkey Steals Peach I think. Is that the one? Monkey steals peach. So presumably that's like some ball plucking exercise or technique. Is that right? Yeah. Sounds good. I like that. Monkey steals peach. This guy, Monkey Steals Peach, the channel, quite prolific, actually. He's doing really well for himself. He's an English guy, English dude, who goes to China and interviews, all these masters. And I say masters. Do you know what I mean? All those kind of people, the ones who, make a bit of money, communism, okay, and all that. But anyway, so... Allegedly. Okay. In other words, bullshitters, right? For the most part, that's my opinion. But I'm a grumpy man. Now, Monkey Steals Peach had a video talking about Lau Gar or hacker styles, and I think it kind of, because in China Lau is it's a surname. There's going to be a few styles called Lau Gar anyway. And then the subject in the comments kind of went on to. Is there any similarities with what you're talking about, what you've made the video about, and the UK version of Lau Gar? Anyway, Lau Gar Sifu, and I'll just read you a few selected comments from him. He says, well, I've already commented that, and he says, the UK Lau Gar Q is not genuine, but a mishmash of other systems, right? And that's one of them. What else did he say? Also, he went on, and he says, right, and he kind of justifies this by saying, okay, for himself, after many long and detailed conversations with a number of the original people / instructors of the UK Lau Gar style, involved in the foundation of UK Lau Gar, and these were both independently and at different times. He says, I was totally convinced the system was entirely created in the 70s. Some of the details were also independently backed up during discussions with masters. And he puts in brackets, with traceable lineages, okay, and who were from completely different systems, who had no personal investment in the matter either way. And he goes on to say, now it's not that it's completely ineffective, okay? Effectiveness really comes from one's own ability to apply. So, with adequate know-how, it can be okay. Though this knowledge will typically come from a source outside the system and be reapplied to fill in the blanks, as it were. So there is some issue there, he says. But mostly it is falsely promoted as genuine Lau Gar of Shaolin origin, with no variable or documented evidence, he says. In any subject, those making the positive claim bear the burden of proof. And in this case, there is no proof of the claims of legitimate lineage. Only the anecdote of one person, Master Yao, but he doesn't say that, that is not sufficient in my eyes, and there is plenty of evidence to the contrary. Okay, so that's a pretty damning, summary of Lau Gar. But he's talking about Lau Gar in the UK. Okay, created in some blah blah blah. Anyway, so he says, and he does go on to say at the end, he says, if people want to make claims they can't prove, it should be open to discussion and challenge. But I'm happy to leave it there. He says, whatever you train hard, and most importantly, enjoy it. Oh, well, that's a nice sentiment. But, okay, this is the same guy who I've offered many times to come on the podcast, and he refuses. So obviously he's not very open to discussion and challenge. Okay. And I posted a reply, but we'll leave it there. It was amicable enough. There was no swear words. So, in response, first off, let's talk about whether or not Lau Gar is a mishmash of different styles and systems. If it does have authentic lineage, what is lineage? Okay. And is it authentic? What does authentic mean? Okay, and I'll leave it to you. What do you think?
All Kung Fu, if it's derived from wherever, no matter where, is going to be a mishmash, but dependent on its foundation and on its continuation, will be original or will be authentic. Now, the only way to prove its authenticity is to see it work. And everybody knows, and that's worldwide, except maybe the people, you know, in the mountains in China, knows that Lau Gar works in combat in any shape or form and in any sporting arena. There isn't a single Kung Fu style that's ever competed and won match for match, or even competed on the same scale and made any success of their effort, unless they fight each other, in which case they can say they're world champions of one style.
Right.
So that's my opinion, but he's right in saying anyone who makes a claim has the burden of proof. I agree with him. Well, he's just made a claim. So his burden of proof is to prove that his Lau Gar is genuine.
Right.
Because, you know, we know our history. You don't listen to someone for 40 years and saying exactly the same thing, training exactly the same style, exactly the same techniques, no change except going left-handed because it's in the West, okay? Adding competitive aspects, which are already in the syllabus anyway, but just put in terms of learned training in sequences.
You've just made them more blatant. They were there anyway, but you've just highlighted them. That's all.
Yeah, you've just applied them to a specific audience. If you want training from people who want to compete, you want to encourage them to compete, but you want them encourage them to stay and train the traditional aspects. Well, in the 70s, it was so successful in competitive fighting against every other style of martial art, bar none, that we were in a situation where we were losing people because they didn't want to sit and learn the traditional aspect. So what you have there is someone who calls himself Lau Gar, Sifu, or to change his name if he doesn't believe in it.
I think so.
And you've got him suggesting that it's not original, and yet, well, which martial art is throughout the ages, but the techniques, the science, and everything is the same.
So,
and in all martial arts, it's the same. In all kung fu styles, it's the same.
Just look. We've said this loads of times. It's tactics and strategy that matter. You'll find the same techniques, Wing Chun, Choi Di, whatever, Hung Gar. It's just when we talk about tactics and strategy, you know, that incorporates on how big a movement you make.
Yeah, it's how we make it work.
Right. Okay, and it's how they would make it work, and that defines the tactics and strategies of other styles. So we've looked at sort of Hung Gar, and you know, with Hung Gar, I think, you know, you look at it as a style. They're trying to create a lot of power, you know, big movements, etc. You know, trying to make these big, powerful, sweeping punches, etc. You know,
and Choi Li foot, big swinging motions, swinging motions. Yeah,
you know,
everybody's got their own style, but how does it compete? How does it work in reality? Now, of course, the argument is, as we argue ourselves, sport isn't reality. But it's the only way.
You don't want reality because you'll end up having no eyes.
Yeah, it's the only way you can prove something. Yeah. It's the only way you can enhance something and develop something. It's like in sport. If sport didn't exist, you know, people wouldn't evolve.
Right.
we evolve because, we no longer do the 4-minute mile. Now we do it a lot faster because people have evolved their technique and their ability and understanding and their science to make it work better.
Yeah. Oh no, and part of that evolution. I mean, we can look at the evolution of. Okay, so sort of like we said, points fighting, right? In the 70s, 80s, and to a certain extent the 90s, Lau Gar in the UK really, really kind of dominated the points fighting.
Yeah, absolutely,
scene.
totally.
And wherever you live in the world, I'm willing to bet that no other traditional kung fu style has ever had that. Okay,
no.
Privilege. None other.
No,
okay? The Lau Gar did,
and nothing that he's talking about has either.
Right. But Lau Gar did. So the burden of proof, in effect, has been proven. But when we talk, you look at sport itself. I mean, what we have to acknowledge is that points fighting, if I'm just using that as an example, has now reached a point in its evolution whereby all the competitors are pretty much
because they've learned,
right. The top competitors are pretty much equal because it's reached that point. And Lau Gar was there at the beginning. They went out.
They learned from Lau Gar.
Right. Yeah,
you could see the way they were fighting. Yeah. They learned from Lau Gar. You could see the way they were losing. They were learning from Lau Gar. So, the amount of competitions that I've been to, and the amount of different styles that I've seen and witnessed the horrendous ability of some of them, just useless in any combative measure, self-defense or whatever, you can call it what you want, but honestly some of them are just they're living in cuckoo land. So
but you look at the legacy of Lau Gar. You want to talk about authenticity, right? How do you define authenticity? Because I think that's pretty authentic. If you've got a traditional style who is
have a legacy.
Yeah, the legacy, and it's
legacy means a lot more than lineage, shall I say?
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
So
that is a hell of a legacy. Yeah.
And the thing is, I think he did he mention about, or which can be proven or can't be proven? Can he prove his lineage?
Well, apparently he's spoken to a number of top people who were instructors in the BKFA, and other styles who have independently sort of verified this and that and the other. It's like, what the hell? Are you for real, man?
I know where he's coming from. It's just mishmash. It's just a mishmash of the facts.
Okay.
Remember, I was in both camps. Okay, with Mike Haig's camp and with Master Yao's camp. Right. So I know where it's coming from, and I know where this bull is coming from.
Oh well, we do.
How the one camp affects the other. Okay. And I know how they started.
Yeah. So let's just explain it. Okay. So you had a guy called Mike Haig, right?
Yeah.
He effectively spearheaded. He's a businessman.
Yeah.
He effectively bought.
He built karate up.
Yeah.
He built karate. He promoted karate in this country.
Right.
And then Bruce Lee died. And suddenly everybody and their grandmother wanted to learn Kung Fu.
Yeah.
So everybody was coming out of the woodwork, asking if they could levitate, if we could teach them to levitate, asking if they could learn, all sorts of special, which is they're back to that now, aren't they? Up in the mountains and all that kind of thing. They're still talking about it.
Yeah.
But that's what it was like in the 70s. Okay. And yes, in terms of the beginning, it was people who had done karate. Bruce Lee died. Suddenly, everybody wanted to learn Kung Fu. The karate guys were instructed to change the way that they were teaching.
Right.
In other words, call it Kung Fu and start making it up. And yes, that was most definitely made up, but it was not Lau Gar. It never was Lau Gar. until Master Yao came 2 years after the development of the British Kung Fu Association. 2 years before he had allowed anybody to call it Lau Gar.
Right.
The stuff that he started to teach.
Yeah.
He started introducing uniforms. He started introducing the specific style. Initially, the stuff that these karate people were teaching was still there for now because it was a syllabus, let's face it. A lot of people, trying to change people, you can't do it overnight. So slowly but surely, he started teaching his style. And the style that he inherited and the style that he can, and I've seen them and I've seen documents if you want. I've seen documents from his grandfather that he gave honorably to John Russell, who is the master in waiting. And some people refer to John as Master John Russell, as all the guardians like to call him, and that's really nice. And they refer to Master Yao as Grandmaster Yao. Until I hear Master Yao say to me, John is now Master, until then, Master Yao is Master Yao. Okay? Because a Grandmaster is less important than a Master. Just like a grandfather is less important than the father of the family. The grandfather you seek advice from, but he does not run the family.
Yes.
And that's exactly the same in martial arts, in Kung Fu.
Right.
Now, people don't see it that way, and so they like to call themselves great grandmaster, great grandmaster when they're 25 years old.
Taekwondo.
So, allegedly. So
nothing alleged about that.
No, okay. Anyway, that's the principal basis to the story, if you like. It started like that, and then it became, and then Lau Gar was introduced into the country under the guise of the British Kung Fu Association, with chairman of that association, became chairman, was asked to become chairman by Mike Haig, who was the businessman who tried to develop Kung Fu in conjunction with his, karate organizations. And then, of course, the Kung Fu, went big time. But in the 80s, actually, the Kung Fu went quite low, and snooker became the priority for them.
Snooker was awesome, though, wasn't it?
Snooker in the 80s became
Steve Davis,
the thing. And they did not believe that the British Kung Fu Association, or the fad of Kung Fu, would last more than a couple of years.
Right.
They didn't expect it.
Yeah.
Okay, so when it did last that long, and it did become so prolific, that is all down to that one master who can't prove anything.
Right.
And yet, here we are today with all the proof you need.
Well,
all the legacy that he gave,
everything
that he taught, and everything that he was.
And we honour
and still is.
And we honour Master Yao for that, and thank him very much.
Yes.
Because where would we be?
Exactly. So all I'm saying is that there's our legacy, there's our proof. Put your money where your mouth is. Show us your champion. Show us your style. Show us how good it is, and also show us your legacy. Show us your documents. Most of us can't read Chinese. You can show us a load of crap if you want to. So, but I as I said, I was at the ceremony where John Russell was given, the red sash in honor, and the new master in waiting, as I honorably call him. I'm sure he does not want to be called master himself. He never even wore a sash. When he was a black sash, when he was teaching everybody, John Russell is a very, very, very good teacher, and but he would wear like a piece of curtain tape to hold his trousers up.
He must have gone through the same problem as me then. Everyone just,
trousers falling down everywhere. Yeah,
he must have been gone through. What belt are you then? What belt are you?
Well, yeah, possibly, but the thing.
I'm not comparing myself to John.
No.
He's an amazing technical. Oh God, yeah, brilliant.
So the thing is, the trousers in those days, the pants as they call them here, are would be tied up with string, and it would be folded a couple of times, and you would fold them so you'd create a pocket, and then you would put your piety belt around it, your sash, and that would hold your trousers up.
Yeah.
He didn't even bother wearing a sash. He just wore a piece of curtain.
So in summary, I'm interested to know, what is lineage authenticity? If you could sum it up, what is it? Is it legacy? What?
I'd say so. Have we got a...
Is she trying to? Is Elizabeth trying to sneak in? Oh, I don't know. Tell her she's hardly been noticed. We can hardly notice her. She's never be any good at ninjutsu. That one.
No, she was wearing black, but
That's true. So, right. So, what is lineage authenticity, and why? And this is another important question because everyone bangs on about it, right? You listen to every Wing Chun practitioner and his grandma and her dog. They're going on about lineage. My lineage is it, man. I'm this removed from here and there and there. Lineage. It's authentic lineage.
That's an opinion, isn't it?
Right. But why do martial artists consider it important? Okay. Why is that? Why do
they have to hold on to something?
Right.
And if they can't, if their style hasn't proven anything, it may be a very good style, but and train it by all means, train it, enjoy it. Don't come and talk about your lineage in comparison to someone else's lineage because you don't know it.
Right.
And I'll give you an example if you like.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Did you know there is a King of England?
Well, what you mean in waiting?
No, he was overlooked.
Oh, yeah, I know. I
Lives
know
in
what
Australia.
you're talking about. Yeah.
And he's got some daughters and they're princesses.
Yeah.
Because there was an illegitimate son who was missed out on the throne, Middle Ages.
Right.
Forgive me, I can't remember at the moment, I can't give you the exact king and that, but apparently he had an affair.
Yeah. King Jacko, that's him.
Yeah, I don't know what.
G'day, Jacko. You all right, mate?
Anyway, that's the difference between lineage. That's lineage.
Yeah.
So, everybody, Queen Victoria, Queen Elizabeth, Queen Victoria, all the way down, all the Georges, they're all illegitimate. They are not the true lineage of the royal family. And there you go. Yeah. So, according only to this one investigation.
Right.
And of course, it's very difficult at that point in time to actually verify things, but they do believe, as best they can, that may be the truth. But, only some people believe it because to them, it's a lineage.
Right, let me ask you a question. Do I study Steve Newby lineage Lau Gar?
Your lineage is the same as everyone else's,
right?
Because we all train from the same source. So,
right,
you just do it better.
Nobody does it better. Nobody does. No. What I'm trying to get at is, right, there
better
is a
than
lot.
Some.
Yeah, better than some. Not as good, not as better as others. Huh?
Not as good as others, but
there you go. I've always been a
like
middle
me.
of the road guy.
I'm better than others, but not as good as some.
Do you know what my tactic was when I joined the army in basic training? It was I never wanted to be at the front of the run, and I never wanted to be the back at the run. I wanted to be in the middle, because in the middle, you don't really get noticed. You're just there. But of course, he says that doing a podcast with you, and bitching all the time. But I'm happy in the middle. I'm happy. You know? Why is it?
Some people.
Go on.
I was just going to say, you know, some people have fame thrust upon them, and some people seek it.
Yeah. If this is fame, I'll shun it. I shun it. Right? Why is it that some people might consider you in Canada, right? Oh, you're removed from the source, Master Yao. So you must be doing a different style of Lao now.
Well, I think all of us are doing a different style of Lao. I think that's pretty obvious because none of us are clones, but we all have the same concept. We all have the same science. And the most important thing is that you actually learn it and digest it. And I'm lucky to have taught absolutely so many clubs, you just wouldn't get your hat on. And I've moved around the country for the British Kung Fu Association. I moved from Birmingham to Milton Keynes. From Milton Keynes, I worked Buckingham. And from there, I moved, you know, elsewhere to Scotland, etc., etc. I had clubs in Outer Hebrides. I've had clubs in Cyprus. You know, clubs everywhere. I've got a list here, but half the places I couldn't even remember.
Really?
But you're looking at maybe 50 places, right, where I've had clubs.
And that's
not, all over the country, right. Not including the guy in America, John, in America. So it's the thing about me is that I learned the basics because I continue to teach the basics, because every time I moved, I had to do it for myself. I had to teach from the beginning for myself. In other words, I had to teach novices, beginners, from the off. And each time I did it, I digested it. And so the science is there. So the very, very the fundamental basics are there. So everything that I teach is based on those most fundamental basics. I haven't needed or desired to go, you know, yes, okay, I know all the weapons, I know all these, you know, forms and so on. I don't even practice these big forms because I don't see any point in it. Because you spend so much time practicing those forms, you don't actually understand the basics at all.
Right. Just clarify exactly what you mean, the big forms.
Well, I'm talking like 5 animal sets and stuff like that. Then Hong Gar sets that we learn. Fu Hox Sunying, Fu Hox Wan, it's called. Same set, just done in a different way.
Right.
The Tai Chi, the Long Yang Tai Chi form I learned as well. And all these forms, and these 2-man sets that are made up for the summer course.
Well,
there are so many different forms and fundamental ways of teaching or learning, I should say. And they're put together so people can practice them. And if you want to practice them, by all means, practice them. I'd rather be far interested in the practical side of the sciences. And that means keeping your eye on the most basic things, building them up and making basic things work, and then discovering where those basic things are in the more advanced forms as you go. And you'll find the same basic things in these bigger forms. But why practice a big form? For me, that's only my opinion, you know.
No, but you know, I teaching beginners.
Well, I'll give you an example. Can I give you an example?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
People learn the first sword set.
Yeah. Well, the training.
They train the first sword set. They learn the first sword set. Then they learn the second sword set, the whirlwind broadsword. Tell me why you continue to learn the first sword set, right? They're the same. They're one and the same thing, right? The same as, like, there's many things in the first set, second set, third set that are very, very similar, okay? But you're not going to then take that sword set and then learn another bigger sword set, and then another bigger sword set, and then another bigger sword set, because, you know, it becomes very repeatable, you know, repetition. So the second sword set, that's it. After that, you learn the primary sword set, and then you learn the set, if you like, the whirlwind broadsword, and then, as far as I'm concerned, that's it. But what people want to do then is they want to go out and they want to learn different sword sets from all over, different styles, or, you know, and so on. They want to advance. Well, you advance by practicing the sword.
You don't want to saturate what you've already got by learning, by
Just practice
overclogging
what
your
you already
brain.
know.
Yeah, well, that's
Practice
it.
what you know. You can put it together in any different way, shape, or form. The only difference is, I mean, those sword sets are pretty similar. The one's a basic one. Same with the stick set. You learn how to use a stick very basically.
Yeah.
Purple sash, and then you do Deutschat, and Deutschat sort of is like the full.
It's the full fat version.
Yeah, that's it. It's the full conversation rather than just learning ABC.
Yeah.
And the same with the first sword set, A, B, C. Second sword set, the full conversation. Now, make from that full conversation, you know, any conversation, because you can.
Yeah.
But then you start wanting to learn this and that and the other, and you're just, all you're doing is filling the room with a load of noise and saying nothing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, but I think the point I really want people to take away is that, you know, it's about teaching beginners, but about you, when we're talking about you, like you said.
It's about teaching anybody.
But the way that you've honed your teaching and honed what you know is because you've always like had to reset. Oh, I teach beginners. Oh, I'm moving on. You know, master, go here. Yeah, okay.
Well, I've had about 30 black sashes as well, and
right,
obviously,
no, that's not it. Yeah, I get that. But since when did you ever want to show off about, you know, how well I can do all these things? That,
well, this is
not,
it, I think.
It's you've never, look, you might say it tongue in cheek to me and on the podcast. Oh, I do this, I do, but you're not that way. You never sort of sell yourself because of what you know. You sell yourself because of who, you know, the amount of people you've taught and the qualities that they exude, you know, and that's, and the majority of those people, beginners, because you've always kind of digested that that early syllabus, that, you know, and
no, it's always been Lau. It's always been Lau. I mean, yes, I learned, you know, the Hongar set, and yes, I learned, or a couple of them, and I learned the Yang form and so on, or short Yang form I kept to, and that's just to teach older people to be fit. That's not my Kung Fu style. And as some people say, yes, you can learn, or it helps you to develop your own. But what helps you to develop your own more than anything is understanding your own.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well,
now, you can compare that to others by all means and learn by observing them. You don't have to go to the club and learn it, because you can see it. If you know your own, you can understand others. It's like, you know, you're able to.
Yeah, but that's the problem.
Box, you can commentate.
Yeah. But most people, they haven't learnt their own, have they?
But that's the problem.
And then they bugger off, look at other people doing whatever, get confused. Oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. And then you're trying to relate it to what you do. And because you don't have the experience or, you know, the knowledge to decipher this, you know, awkward thing, you get all confused.
Well, then that's when it becomes a mishmash,
right.
Mr. Lau Gar, Sifu.
Yeah, well,
that's when it becomes a mishmash.
Yeah.
When you start learning different styles, and that, when you start putting them together, is how you then do your best to proclaim you have some kind of lineage somewhere.
Yeah, right. But right, when you, and now I want you to specify what you mean by learn different styles. We just mentioned it then. What exactly do you mean by learn different styles? Because we've already established that, let's face it, all the moves in Kung Fu are going to be damn similar, if not the same. So what do you mean by learning different styles? Surely Kung Fu as a whole encompasses everything.
Well, again, it's down, and I think some people hit it on the head. I've heard, you know, people talking on different sites and so on, and they're going, well, you know, I like to learn to go and travel and learn the new styles and it helps me enhance my style. Well, if you understand your style in the first place, then your style would be able to enhance others. That's the way I see it. So when I go to others' martial arts, or when I compete with other martial arts, or run competitions that have invited other martial arts, it's me showing them. It's not me learning from them, because
isn't
isn't
that a bit like
teaches me how good this style is, and it teaches me how I can better do this style, not because I see something new, but because I see things pretty much the same. And there's certainly ideas that come from it. Most definitely there's ideas come from it, but it doesn't make me want to run off and learn different styles necessarily. Okay. When I first started, I was like that, and I can understand that as lower grades. At lower grades do that. When I did karate for 10 pence a lesson in 1972, 1972, 10 pence a lesson. Yeah. I've done, Bagua, on courses and so on, and learned. I've done Wing Chun and whatever, and this,
You've done all sorts of shit.
I've done a lot of different, I've participated in different classes. It doesn't make me want to go and learn them.
Right. Yeah.
It makes me recognize how good this one is.
Right.
Right. And that's it. And if you don't know this style, then you are going to look across and see the grass is greener on the other side. You're always going to do that. And that's fine, because go out and express it, go out and discover it and find out how good it is. But if you train Lau Gar, if you train the style that you started, you can, because it's got a good, if we want to dare say, lineage, because it's got a very good science, because it's proven science, because it's got a legacy, it stands, heads above the rest.
So, I mean, right, regardless of if the history, has breaks in it for us, because we can't.
All history has breaks.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I know, but this is the point. So, regardless if the history has no sort of provable, documented, evidence out there,
it's
to
irrelevant.
support what is relevant. What is relevant is the
relevant is
what happened.
Is the proof in the science.
Right.
Is the result of training. Yeah. It's the result in comparison to other martial arts. Yeah. It's the result in comparison to other martial arts in competition and in scientific, strategy. I do understand that there are a lot of people in Lau Gar, because Lau Gar got far too big for one individual to build it, which is why you've got so many diversification. It's why people left. It's why people, get peed off about, their lot. They're not getting enough training. They're not getting anyone up to their area. They're not getting, the right information. Well, there were courses for them, but courses aren't enough for people. They need it. Sometimes just they want it so they can just take it home in a plastic bag. And so they're not prepared to train for it. But some didn't have the option. They couldn't train for it. They didn't have an instructor. Instructor has died. The instructor has left. The instructor is, not very good. It's not all instructors are great. So they've been stuck in a kind of quagmire. They're unable to gain any more. They look around them. They see other martial arts advancing around them, especially today with all the bull that goes on and promotion of, this martial art, that martial art, and lineages. And where they say, and particularly the lineage that really gets me is the lineage of, so many masters of Shaolin, so many generations from the Shaolin temple.
Yeah, right.
Get a life, for God's sake. It was destroyed in the 17th century, and there is no more lineage. So stop bullying it.
Well, right, and this leads us on, right, to our next bit, right? We're talking about logisticians versus intellectualists. Now, in martial arts, And we talked about this the other day, and I thought it was really great. It was really an interesting way to look at it. So you've got two kinds of people. You've got your logisticians, right, who will say this, So, Steve, if you punch me, it's going to hurt, right? That's logical, right? But the intellectualist might go, so if I punch you, it's going to hurt, right? And I say, ooh, well, it depends on the angle of attack, or the part of the hand, or the because we all know that force is mass times acceleration and this, that, and the other. But then again, you could be doing this strike from this system and there, and it goes on and on and on. So what essentially could be a simplistic way to look at a martial art ends up being clouded with nothing more than friggin' intellectual,
diarrhea.
Bullshit, and that's it.
And diarrhea.
Diarrhea. And it's like that is very prevalent today,
Show them how to punch. Show them how not to punch.
Right. So you remember that video I did? You remember that video I did of punching? Yeah. And I had this comment on YouTube. And normally I don't give a crap about the comments, but it's kind of funny, and this comment was like, oh, that guy's rabbit punching. No, like that. Anyway, so it went on and on and on. Can't give any, scientific, reason why this, that, and the other. But I'll tell you something. Did I ever tell you the story that why I know, that punch, works or is powerful enough? So did I ever tell you when I was in the army that I was stood in 3 ranks? Did I tell you this story?
Probably.
Oh, it's really... Anyway.
No, tell the audience.
No, it's funny because, I was stood in 3 ranks in training in Catterick, and I was in the middle, and so there was a guy behind me and a guy in front. And when you stand at ease in the army, you have your hands behind your back like that. You can't be relaxed with your thumbs like that. You've got to be nice straight fingers, all the rest of it. Anyway, so I'm stood
Not exactly relaxed then, is it?
There's 2 versions of it. There's relaxed, and then there's okay. But essentially, Anyway, I'm stood there, right, in the middle rank. Next thing, and I feel a twinge on my thumb. And I'm like, ooh, what's that? Next thing, my thumb is bright red. Anyway, I'm like, what the hell was that? I turn around, and this guy's got a lighter on my thumb, right? So without thinking, do you know what I did? Bang, like that. Right in his solar plexus. Right, his name was Davis. And he was a bit of an idiot, but, but I didn't even think about it. I just went whack like that. And it was so funny, because his body went like this. It went like that. And he was on the floor. And for about 20 to 30 seconds, couldn't breathe properly. And it was a perler of a shot. Perler, But I didn't think about it.
But that's how you know it works.
Exactly. So that to me is logical. It works. Yeah. So when I do a video of punching, all from the heart, man, blah, 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 I don't want to hear.
It's because of this lineage. But James, it's because this lineage. First of all, they have no respect for me because they don't even know who I am.
Well, yeah.
Secondly, they have no respect for you because obviously they don't know who you are. If they don't know who I am, they don't know who you are.
I'm a nobody.
Yeah, well, nor am I. I'm nobody either.
We are humble like the dust, people, because you know why? We watched Kung Fu with David Carradine.
We did.
The wise man walks with his head bowed. No, 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 no.
So, yeah.
Except us. So we're not wise.
Well, we're catching up now.
Yeah, there you go.
We're catching on and catching up.
Yeah.
But yes, they don't understand that you've done full contact. They don't understand you've done, a lot of semi-contact and so on. And it isn't about winning competitions. It's about strategies and training. And it's not just about fighting per se. It's about having the ability and the will to take on people irrespective of the situation, right? And because you've had that much experience in that, you can talk the way you talk, but you can still have humor with it.
Yeah.
That's the proof of it. You're not going, I'm mad.
Because I'm not.
I'm mad.
I'm really not. Like, and those people who say that, I'm like, you're full of it. You're full of it. Come on. No one is. There's no such thing as hard men, only soft one.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, remember, the higher the cow's ass,
the more of a splat the bullshit.
The more the splash of the bullshit.
Well, there's so many people, so many intellectualists, and I'm talking about within our own style.
Yeah.
You know?
But you know, it's everywhere in martial arts, and unfortunately, you know, we're keen to learn martial arts. We're keen to teach martial arts, and we do get different opinions, and I like to listen to these opinions.
So do I.
It's nice when they talk back to you, you know, politely, but the thing is, you see, you get people who are like, I mean, okay, so I've been doing Lao 40 years or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
And these people on these, you know, sites, these newfangled TV thingies, computerisms. You can tell I don't know anything about computers.
Yeah.
They then come up with this like, oh, well, I believe this and I say that and I say that. And I say, you know, great. Then, and this is my answer. Oh, but, yeah, but, no, but, but, yeah, but, no, but, you know, just keep arguing until you understand, you know, either I'm right or you're right. Okay. But most of them just say an opinion and then disappear. Yeah. And you can't follow it up. It's very difficult to follow it up. But, you know, they're always invited to come on the podcast to ask questions. More importantly, without the podcast, privately, they're always welcome to send an email.
And you know what?
Or send them a video, and I'll send a video back, and they can then send a video. We've had people doing that.
Yeah.
You know, can you do this? Can you? And then they've gone, well, can you critique my set? Can you critique this? And I've given my opinion, and it's a valid opinion, they've said. Now, if they want to go further than that, find someone else to critique as well.
Yeah. Oh, no, but there's a lot of people who would, there's secrets. I'm not going to do that. Come and try, you know. Right. Okay.
No, but you see, the thing is, if you get someone else's opinion, does it make their opinion right instead of the first opinion? You've got to compare opinions and then come back with that argument. Like give my opinion to the other guy who's giving you an opinion, and then give his opinion to me, and let's see who comes up with the answer.
But that's verging on conflict, and we don't want that in Lau Gar. We want everyone to be nice.
That's not conflict. That's a discussion.
But it is. It ends up being conflict because it's their opinion against your opinion. You know, it's getting too hairy now.
But an opinion is an opinion.
Why can't we just agree that we're all nice and everybody's right, and it doesn't matter really?
Because you can't learn like that.
Right, exactly. You can't learn like that.
The only way you're going to learn that you're wrong or that you're right is to form an opinion about it. Okay? Otherwise, you just get, you know, you just try to make everybody like you so that they'll vote you in.
Well, right. I don't want, no one here wants to be voted in. We just want to be true to our convictions. First of all, because, you know, there's some experience with me, and even more so with Mr. Newbie. A lot of experience with that.
But we have had we've had a lot of people, I guess we've had a lot of people that have criticized us for just doing a podcast.
Oh,
simply because of the fact that we want to promote the podcast. Well,
we don't, hang on, we don't want to.
No, they don't have to listen to it.
Yeah, well, I don't, to me, it's not.
They listen to it and then complain.
Yeah.
Don't listen if you're not interested. Shut up.
Well, for me, it was never about promoting a podcast. It was always about promoting Lau, like putting Lau out there. I mean, I don't consider myself like someone spearheading this, because it's been done. I just think this is another avenue where we can sort of talk about, you know, our beautiful style, our wonderful, you know, lineage, and on all that, you know. And it's just like, you know, there's no gain for me or you other than the pleasure of watching people discover, for yourselves, for me, discovering, new ideas, because since I started doing this with Steve, we've had some wonderful chats, and you've been a part of it too, everyone at home, if you've been listening. I think they're wonderful. I think they're relevant. And how many other people are doing this in Lao? So, and I'm not saying that, we're special on that. I just think that, if, we were there, we've just got this position, we got this thing, it's up and running, let's go for it. Let's nail it. Let's
Well, how many people listen to it and then just talk to themselves or talk to their friends and go, you know what, it's bullshit.
Well, whatever.
I don't care. But, tell us why you think it's that. Why you think, have you got an opinion? Have you got something to say, that counters the argument, if you want? Because this is all about discussion. This is all about, it's a fun discussion too. We can have a laugh. And of course we do have a laugh with the people that have betrayed Lao.
Yeah.
We do that quite often. I love it.
Yeah, so do I.
Because they betrayed me too. People don't know who I am, but they know who the people are that betrayed me, and they get a say. And then when I get to talk about it, I'm a bully. Apparently.
We tread a fine line.
Yeah.
Okay, so whatever. I don't think so. I don't think we. I think everything we've done is, in retrospect, it's reactionary to a position. Yeah. We didn't go out there set out to destroy people's lives. No. And this is what's unfortunately happened with a lot of people in our past. And they haven't just hurt you. They haven't just hurt me. They've hurt the style.
They've hurt all their students.
And right.
Because their students are now searching.
Yeah.
The students are now the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And this is, and they can say all they like, because obviously it's if you say a lie enough, people will believe it. Yeah. So it's not a matter of whether they're treading a new path. It's like they're treading a new path and you lot are coming with me. Well, wait a minute. A lot of them turned around and said, no, we don't want to do that. So apparently, apparently I was the instigator. Someone left me, took the club. These people went with them. And then when they got kicked out of the association, these people decided, well, wait a minute, we don't want to go there. We'll stay with Master Yao. We'll stay with the association. But we won't go to Steve because, he did all this.
I've heard bad things.
Didn't you just realize something? But of course, now they want to jump over and go, oh, Master Yao, humble, and all that. And so, but that's not a problem. I've always let people, that's how it happened in the first place. I didn't mind people going to other clubs. Yeah. Which is how it all started. Yeah. Because I've always let people do what they want.
Yeah. You've encouraged
if they want
people
to learn
to
from
do
me, they'll learn from me. If they don't, they don't. Yeah. And but don't turn around and start, and don't start crying because I'm taking the piss out of you because you have said, the most destructive things about me. I'm not talking to you per se, obviously. I'm talking to generally, certain individuals we've taken the pee out of, they come crying because we're taking the pee out of them. All in jest, because as far as I'm concerned, it's over, but it's great fun. You got to admit, we're having a laugh.
I think we are.
But they cry their eyes out.
They do.
And yet, the things that they said, the things that they did, the things that they've, could have claimed, it's just unbelievable. And then as soon as you come back to them, everybody, not everybody, but some people support them, even though they know the honest truth.
Well, those are the weak ones. Really weak.
I don't know. Anyway, that's a gripe.
Well,
and I have got a song coming up, and look forward to one of the podcasts soon. There will be a song coming up.
Show tunes, baby.
Yeah. We are going to do. I am going to do a song that I am putting words to, and now I've said that.
No, you've said it now, so you have to do it. That's the way it works.
Oh yeah. It's on its way.
No. So we've So we kind of the point was with this logisticians, and let's just go back to that because we kind of skipped it. We didn't skip it, but we kind of went around it.
No, I understand
logisticians
exactly what you're
versus
saying about the
intellectualists.
differences.
Go on. Just talk a bit about that. What do you think? What do you think?
Logistician. Well, it either works or it doesn't. I guess I'm a logistician, am I?
No, yeah, because it's less. There's less. I want to say bullshit, but that's not right because sometimes you are full of bullshit.
Yeah.
No, I don't. But what if I ask you a question, right? Generally, yeah. I get a logical answer, and I don't get
the answer forces you to think.
Right. Yes. Okay. And it's not shrouded in secrecy, or you don't start quoting Einstein's laws of bloody physics and this, that, and the other. What you do is you just pose a simplistic, and I guess you kind of tailor it down to its base, problem, and what is it? Does a punch hurt? Yeah, it does.
That's my answer.
What's faster, that or that? That, because it's closer, it's longer, etc. Yeah. So it's just like, for me, that's logic.
Yeah. It's all it is. That's all strategy is logical. It's the logical thing. But some people don't have very good strategies, but they claim strategy, and it fails miserably. We've had a very good strategy, and it has been very successful. So going back to this Lau Gar seafood guy, show us your logic. That's all. Well, show us your logic in saying that Lau Gar is more of a mishmash than any other style. Because admittedly, any Shaolin style is a mishmash because it's come from the same people, but with different opinions. So where these opinions have clashed, they've gone their different ways and taken pieces of what they've learned with them for the benefit of themselves. A tea merchant would have low stances if it was on a junk.
Oh, and likewise, a small person would have different opinion of it to a big person.
Yeah, a tall person living on the plains of northern China would have a totally different opinion than a person living in the narrow streets of Hong Kong or narrow streets of, Shanghai or wherever.
Yeah.
And so the opinions will change. And the styles will change. And sometimes, somewhere along the line, you might get people come together and go, you know what? I'm going to put that style and that style together. Well, it's Kung Fu. It's a style. The whole thing is a style. When karate first started, when karate became quite well known, or more well known, after the war and so on, then it was called karate. But then slowly but surely, it was called something else. Goju-ryu, Shotokan, Vodovoz.
Yeah.
Different versions taught by different people. And that's exactly what's happened to Kung Fu, only over a much longer period of time. And then, of course, people who have had no influence from the origination of Shaolin styles have then added their own interpretation of Kung Fu and the concept of an animal fighting like a praying mantis, like a monkey, all sorts of stuff. And then you see people coming out with that one.
No, you see, for me, a lot of it has got to do with frigging Hong Kong movies. And the money and the business and the bullshit that you could sell people from just watching Hong Kong movies.
But they don't have to be that rich to start Kung Fu movies. They just simply, you have a couple of really good martial artists in the 30s and 40s who go on film and you see them and they create movies around them. They suddenly become cult heroes.
Like Wong Fei Hung and stuff like that.
Yeah. And they're not necessarily, how good were they? We don't know. I'm sure they were very, very good. But how good were their students after that? Depends on whether they had an opinion of teaching, an interest in teaching, or did they just teach because it added to the revenue? That's no disrespect to them. Maybe they were good, maybe they weren't, but we don't know that. We can't know that. There's bound to be people who claim to know that. There's bound to be people who claim how Yip Man fought off like soldiers and whatever, and his son will have an advantage and an interest in saying things like that. Doesn't mean to say it's true.
You mean he didn't kick the arse of 20 karate black belts?
That was a movie, James.
Shit. Okay. I love
Now,
it.
when you were talking about your punch earlier,
yeah,
and you said, the guy said it was, what did he say? Call it?
He called it a rabbit punch. Yeah. He said there's
Rabbit
no power
punch.
in it. I said, so I messaged back. I said, how do you know? How do you know?
Well, why don't you ask him about Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch?
Well,
Is there any power in Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch?
yeah, because it's Bruce Lee.
Well, it's got to be in it. 5'7.5".
You know, but my point with that was, you know, oh, train it from here to get the power, blah blah blah. Then we train it from here, da da da. And it's like, man, does it work? Yes. Why? Because I've friggin' done it. You know, it's like, you know, and this is what I hate. I hate this intellectual argument or discussion.
Yeah, but don't be
something
drawn by
that's
it, James.
blatant. What?
Yeah. Don't be drawn by
No,
you know.
no. I think that hate is a strong word because I'm up for discussion. I love discussion, but what I am is like I'm fed up of some discussions and what is a blatant, you know, the sky is blue. You know, I don't want a discussion about that because it is. Yeah. You know, don't tell me it's purple. You know, and I'm like. You know, and that's to me is that's logic. That's the way I approach it. And like everybody, I think to a certain degree, when I first started with you, I spent the first 2 years utterly bemused and confused about what it was I was doing. No, and that's not because of you. It's because I complicated matters by reading bloody American Inside Kung Fu magazines and about a guy who learned Kung Fu from his cat. You know, and I'm just like, you know, this shit confuses people, and it
that's
you know,
why they love all the. That's why they love the 39th generation Shaolin master from a Shaolin temple that hasn't existed for 300 years. I mean, that's why.
You know, like, you know, and I'm a middle of the road practitioner. That's me, you know. But you know, at least I feel. And this might be sort of ignorance or whatever, but, you know, at least in myself, I can justify things to a point, you know, 9 times out of 10, you know, I can justify a lot, you know, and it makes sense to me. And I'm not searching for, you know, something that, you know, is, you know.
But sometimes the way we talk, anyone would think, we don't think anyone in China knows anything about martial arts. But that's not true. I wouldn't for a minute believe that. There are some extremely good practitioners of martial arts everywhere in the world, all over the world. They're extremely good, and it's because they train, but also because they take their fight, you know, they prove it. You know, they're very, very good at what they do. And some of them train extremely, you know, unbelievably hard, and at the same time, they're academically motivated by it, not just, you know, want to be, you know, punch everybody's lights out, but they literally are, you know, genuinely academic in martial arts, if you like. But that doesn't make them, it doesn't mean anything. They're, if you like, their hereditary, what's it called? Heritage, their pedigree, their lineage doesn't mean jack. Okay, it doesn't mean anything. What matters is that they trained, right? And they trained in a scientific sense. In other words, whoever taught them well. Okay, and that's it. Now, you don't have to necessarily. You don't have that great training every generation. Some generations don't teach so well, but happen to have a student who trains very, very hard to understand it and gets it without having to be told.
Yeah.
And sometimes there comes a time every so often over many, many years or a few generations where one individual will actually surpass and increase the capability of that art, if you want.
Yeah.
Because they will improve it in its, you know, scientific value, if you want. That's what a master is.
Like, like there was science before Einstein, science
Yeah.
before bloody Isaac Newton, but they just sort of nailed it, didn't they?
They nailed their bit of science.
Right. And,
not necessarily right with everything, but it's the best theory.
Yeah.
But I mean, people knew the world was not flat, absolutely, 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And then people come back today and claim it's flat.
But I mean, so like my gripe is like, and the academic pursuit of martial arts is something that I really, really love. Like, I mean, but first and foremost, I'm driven by logic, because without that logic, I don't have, the means or the to sort of, guide, and you guide my training, but I don't have the means. Without that logic, I don't have the means to self-censor when I'm doing something wrong, or when I'm, straying off the chessboard, if you like, and stuff like that. That for me is the logic. My logic in simplistic terms is, okay, I'd get in, do the job, get out. So, and I know that sounds very sort of, cavalier, but that is the basis or the beginning of my logic. That's what I want. So, and then from there, I can, take different paths and whatnot, but the problem is, I think without that logic to do, and if you just pursue the academic or the intellectual side of a martial art without the logic, you've lost a hell of a lot of, basic
well, it should
thought.
be logical if it's, it should be logical, but it isn't always.
Yeah.
It's certainly not practical.
Right.
Not everything, in theory can work in practice. Well, we know that. I mean, that goes with everything.
Yeah,
it's all about design. It's all about development and evolution.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, some things don't work, and evolution changes it, and then it becomes better. But some people are stuck in their ideology and don't evolve or change. You were talking earlier about how people think that because I'm in Canada, surely I must be away from it now. How stupid is that in today's age? When we're looking at each other in exactly the same time frame, right?
This is
from
witchcraft
6,000 miles away.
This is witchcraft shit 200 years ago. You'd be burned at the stake for this.
Yeah. So, I can learn more, I can gain more, you can gain more, and we can always, seek information as and when. Ask me a question. Not you, but anybody. Ask me a question that makes, a good sense question. And don't talk to me about Chinese terminology, because I'm not Chinese. Okay? These are the only 3 words I can read in Chinese.
Is that chop suey?
I do know ni hao and xi xi and
gong hei fat choy.
And that's about it. Oh, yeah, you sound. I was talking to a Chinese student the other day, and I said, "Do you speak Chinese?" She went, "Well, I speak, Mandarin or whatever, or Cantonese, some Cantonese." I'm going, "Oh, yeah, you some say," and then she corrected me somewhere. I can't remember where, but and I said, well, "Shut up." So otherwise, I'll talk real English to you. Oh. She's Canadian.
Yeah.
So she talks with a Canadian accent. She's Chinese origin, and she's talking to me. She says she can speak Chinese, but a lot of the people here in Vancouver, where it's it's probably the second biggest community of Chinese outside of China, next to San Francisco, and a lot of the youngsters actually can't speak Chinese and their parents can't understand them anyway, because they're useless at it. So, they try to speak Chinese, but they're no good at it.
Do you remember we had a lovely student in Hereford who was Chinese heritage?
Yeah.
And she said, we were doing the lion dance. Do you remember? And she said, "That's not a lion, it's a dragon." We said, no, it's a lion. No, it's a dragon. I swear it's a dragon. No, it's a lion. Just because it's funny. Yeah, bless her. She was great.
Yeah, well, I remember she come and she sat there, and I says, I gave her the application form and I said, you know, your parents will have to sign this. And she went, I'm 25.
Oh, one of the.
She did look small, though. She did look small.
Yeah, she was.
To be fair.
Yeah, to be fair. Yeah.
She was lovely. She was gorgeous. But
yeah, she's great. Yeah, good girl. Good girl. Let's finish off because I want to talk about. There was a post that was kind of, you know, Lau Gar related, and it was about applications, and this was on the forum, you know.
Okay.
And this post was, I won't read out the guy's name, but basically it says, I have trained with other styles. And this guy is, you know, he's been doing Lau for a while, I think. You know, I think he seems a pretty cool guy, to be fair. He says, anyway, I've trained with other styles, as I'm sure many of you have. And the ones that have impressed me the most are those who have a clear, definitive understanding of how to apply the techniques within their forms. Training with these people has enabled me to analyze Lau Gar forms and identify effective applications that I haven't been taught openly within the BKFA. In a way, I have seen in these other styles. Oh, sure. I added the comment wrong there. He said, I've been taught openly within the BKFA in a way I haven't seen with these styles. Do you think we should place a greater emphasis on passing down Grandmaster Yao's, Master Russell's, and the Guardian's knowledge of applications within Lau Gar to ensure this knowledge is preserved for future generations? Okay, so what do you want
me to comment on that?
Yeah, if you would, because I mean, it was an interesting thing. Basically, he's saying he's going to other. He's seen a lot of other styles. Yeah, but he's placed a greater emphasis on learning applications within their forms than he really gets from the BKFA. And I don't want to put words in his mouth, but
yeah,
you know.
But he's putting words in his own mouth because he's saying he can't get it from the BKFA. What he's saying is he can't get it from his instructor. In other words, the instructor is not giving him the information. That doesn't mean to say it doesn't exist. Just because he has to go to other styles to learn it, that's because he's not learning it with us, and that's unfortunate. And I'm first to apologize but I don't know your instructor. But the one thing's for sure is ask a question. That's all you got to do. Ask a question. What's this for? What that for? You know, ask the question. You know, but do your style rather than try to mishmash it with other styles and then start to work out, well, wait a minute, you know, which one's better? You know, he's not learning anything in Lau, so he's frustrated, and that is one of the downfalls of many martial arts, not just Lau, but many martial arts that people teach by rote. People teach not because they want to teach, but because they just want to be teachers.
Yeah.
People teach because they have no choice. Some people have to take over from people when they're not even ready for it.
Yeah,
I had to do that personally myself. And you know, I remember my first time. That's why I went to all these different styles, because I wasn't getting taught very well.
Yeah. So you in effect sort of, you know, had that same mindset.
I did. Yeah, I had exactly the same situation, but you know, I was able, because I lived in Birmingham, I was able to gain more information. And of course, all I did, I kept going on the summer courses. So I went on every summer course there was at the time, you know, obviously not for a long time now, but yeah, you learn a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think this guy strikes me as someone who really, you know, just, you know, wants to, you know, understand, as we all do, but really is interested in these applications of the forms, and I think that's a great thing. And but I mean, so what I kind of want to focus on is this: do you think we should place a greater emphasis on passing down Master Yao's, Master Russell's, and the Guardian's knowledge of the applications within Lau Gar? And I think, well, and I want to get your opinion on this. So if I come to you and I say, well, okay, what's this used for, Steve? And he's like, well, you can do this. I say, oh, okay, brilliant, great. Okay, I'll go off. Oh, I've got some knowledge now. Fantastic. That's enlightened me. Or, you know, go to someone else, say, what's this used for? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I've got more knowledge. That's great. What I think this boils down to is the ability to try to formulate applications, or the understanding of how we create applications within yourself. So it's like, give a person a fish and they eat for a day, teach them the fish, they eat for a lifetime. So, you know, when we look at, I mean, look, Master Yao, yeah, he's the source. Yeah, he's the driving force of Lao, and he, whatever, you know, there's going to be some applications that Master Yao doesn't know, you know, like, as
or don't work for him.
Exactly, right? And
I've told you the story already about me asking him a question after a brand such course, because one time he did it one way, and the next time I went to the course a month later, he did it a different way. And when I approached him and John Russell and said, last time you did it this way, this time you're doing it this way, you know, which is right? And he says, they just turned to me. Both of them looked at me straight in their face and said, use your noggin, use your head. Right. And I've done that ever since.
Yeah.
Because I recognize that not one way of doing things.
Yeah. And I want to just clarify what I just said. I did not say that Master Yao does not understand how to create applications. For all you, you know, little deviants listening, oh, James said this about Master Yao. No, I didn't. I just said that, you know, it's going to be, you know, that what he knows.
He's going to say that will work for you.
Yes,
it might not work for me.
Right. And it's just like,
so he doesn't do it that way, but he would expect you to think of it that way.
Right.
And this is not about him teaching it you. It's about him teaching you to think that way.
Think that way.
And that is where most instructors lack. They do not teach students how to think for themselves.
Right.
And you know, there's two reasons. One, they don't know how to. And two, they're scared to.
Because they don't want the student to surpass them.
Yeah, and I've been there, and I know what it's like to have students turn around and not want to know you, you know, and crap on you simply because of the fact that you know, give them freedom. And
well, that's your greatest, you know, problem, old man. You give people too much. You know, what can I say?
Yeah, but the thing is, you teach them how to think. But of course, people like that, they don't think anyway. So they have to go off and find someone else to teach them, which is, you know, sad.
Yeah.
Because they always find the wrong people.
Right. Well, yeah.
Because there's nothing like Lao. And that's my thing.
Absolutely. It's my thing too. My thing too. And this is a Lau Gar podcast. So if you don't want to hear words, nothing like Lao and pro-Lao speech, get off. I'm kidding.
No, you're welcome. Everybody's welcome to listen, but they're always also welcome
to disagree.
Send something in and say, well, no, I think my karate technique works this way, or
that's one.
I think this works this way, and this is how I do this. Great. That would be brilliant if people did that. I would love that.
We love that. I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to put you on the spot and answer the unanswerable question, which is, how do you teach people to think
for themselves?
And how do you teach people to think to apply forms?
You ask them how they would,
right,
and then you correct them. You don't show them. You just say, okay, so how would you apply this? And if they try to apply it in a way that doesn't work, then I would say, okay, so if you did this and they did that, what would happen then? And they realize that, oh, you know what, that's going to hurt. That one we were talking about is a good example.
Yeah.
You want to use that and break your wrist? Go ahead. Make my day. You know, if I say it's a right with the wrist, that's what it is. It's not this, because the wrist is nowhere near there now. Okay, use that, but now you have this at risk. Now, we talked about that in the last podcast.
Yeah.
So but that's an example.
So I mean, can we like, this is from a really sort of basic teaching perspective, right?
Okay.
This is what I would say. I'd say, right, take a movement from a form, but do not cop out and figure out what a strike and a block is, right? Just forget them. I said, just start off by doing grabs and releases with it. See, and move your anatomy, whatever. Try and figure out something along those lines and start from there, you know? because it's so easy to extrapolate strikes and blocks from forms. They're friggin' obvious.
Yeah. You're basing your premise on the fact that they will actually train. So.
Oh shit! Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. We just talk about it, guys. It's easier. Relax.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm working with them. I'm working with them to make it work, and then watch them do it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
you know,
you're right.
After the first 10, they're then showing someone else.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a good thing for them to go off and show someone else because it makes them learn, and it spreads the word.
Well,
but sometimes with some people, it's the worst thing that can happen.
I think you know the people. You know people well enough. You can judge people.
Yeah.
To a point. But always getting people to teach, within the class is an amazing thing.
Yeah, I'm just a teacher per se. I've always been a teacher, always will be a teacher. You know, when I came to Canada and I wanted to do classes here, and I will do classes here, but I'm just searching for anyone who hasn't got an ego, who will eventually go, you know what, I'd like to learn something. You know, because you see so many people who do martial arts, and you look at them and you think, for God's sake, you're a really nice guy, you're a decent guy, you're training really hard. You're just training all the wrong things. You're doing it all for the wrong reasons, and it looks stupid.
Yeah, but the problem is though, you're competing with people who have got an ego, and
that won't change because they think, well, my master's this, and he's in New York. Well, wait a minute, you're in here, you're in, in Canada. There's no way on earth you're going to go, But having said that, yes, they can still learn, but how much you can always tell how much their instructor is actually teaching them. So, because let's face it, we're apart, okay?
Yeah.
That doesn't stop us learning. So it wouldn't stop them, but for the fact that they're not being taught.
Yeah.
And you can see that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, I mean, so it was an unanswerable question, really.
Yeah.
How do you teach people to work out applications?
Well, I mean, going back to it, sorry, we were talking about me, why I like teaching as well.
Yeah.
And the fact that I do like, love to teach. I mean, because people will say, well, I'm not teaching now. Well, of course I am with you guys and John and Doug and so on. But, and we have a class through video, etc. But I'm teaching people to drive as well in Canada. And that's teaching. It's teaching that I love. It's not just about Lao. It's not just about martial arts. My persona, my whole self, my whole being is about making people better than what they were before they met me. And that's my whole life. And that's always been my life. And people will say that, so it's not about just martial arts. It's about teaching. So you've got to want to be a teacher. Now, whatever the subject is, you've got to want to teach people.
Yeah.
And it's a joy. But you don't have to be concerned with people getting better, because that's the whole objective.
So that's why we don't, if you ask a question, you'll get a video, we'll give you an answer, you'll have an opinion. We don't say secrets in martial art.
I'm not going to say this is the way I teach, because I don't know how I teach.
Yeah.
I just teach.
Yeah.
I teach because I appreciate, and I've said this, and I think it was on the blog thing. I said I answered a question. Someone says, how do you teach or whatever? I can't remember. And I just says, it's not about what you teach. It's about the results of what you see the student doing.
Yeah.
When you appreciate what they're doing from your, if you like, from your teaching, then that helps you as well. You learn as well. That's basically the ins and outs of what the answer I said. I don't know what it actually says. I can't remember.
Oh, you write a lot of stuff, old man. So
I know. I write a load of crap, don't I? Yeah.
But no, but it's that it's such an important sort of point, saying that because it's not about how good you are. It's not. No. You're not in it for yourself. And this is the thing about me. See, when I first started with you, I probably mentioned it before, it was all about me. I just wanted to learn martial art. I wanted to be this, that, and the other. But the more I understood what you were trying to do, and and how you work, and how it's how the, I guess you want to call it a traditional way of thinking, teaching, father son, whatever. It's about the next generation. It's not about how good you can make yourself. As a byproduct, you'll get good. As a byproduct, it's it's about trying to do your best to understand what you do, so you can pass it on.
Yeah,
and that is a wonderful gift. You
can get students who've got a really bad character, and you can change that character as well. You can make them think. You can make them change.
Yeah.
And it isn't because you want them to change. It's because, I guess, they do, simply because of what you do. You want to show them the right way, and I suppose you want them to change, but in a sense you can't make them change, but they change simply because they absorb what you are, what you want to be, or what you want them to be. So you see that in a lot of people.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great.
That's why you did all that brickwork for me.
Pick the brick up, throw the brick up. Pick the brick up, throw the brick. Pick the brick, throw the brick. Push the wall down. I was real good at that. Do you know what I'm reading a book at the moment called The Peter Principle, right? And I've read it before. Okay, The Peter Principle. It's an old book, and the premise of it is, right, this is the tagline of this book: every employee tends to rise to his level of incompetence. It's 2020, so his or her level of incompetence. But what that basically means is you could be a really great white sash in Kung Fu, then you go to the next level, blue sash. You might not be a very good blue sash. No. Or, you might be a great, amazing brown sash, but you might not be a good black sash. You might be an amazing student, but you might not be a good teacher. And I kind of like that. I kind of agree with that, because I've seen a lot of people rise to their own level of incompetence. And I guess, keep it real, people. Yeah. It ain't about you.
They're waiting for other people to, when they rise to a certain level, they're waiting for people to appreciate them. Right. Unfortunately, that's not the way to do it.
No one ever appreciated me. No.
Well, James, they don't appreciate me.
That's true. Who are you? Oh, you do know that Steve's a Guardian on the blog spot, is he?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm one of the top 12, the original 12 that were invited by Master Yao.
OG.
Yeah, to in 2001 to become the new, if you like, the new order of Guardians for his, in time of his retirement or passing. They wanted, the original idea was they wanted someone or people to maintain and to improve the way the association worked.
Yeah.
It's questionable whether it's still the same. Well, we know it's not the same process now, but I would like to see. I'm still waiting for that process, and I still support that original process. But it's not going to be the same now.
Yeah.
So it's just gone completely in a completely different way that it was originally meant to be. So, but that's just my opinion, of course.
Well, we can perhaps talk about that another time.
I'm the only Guardian on here. Well, there's also Rash has been talking as well on here before, but we never talked about Guardians or whatever. And I wouldn't imagine that many Guardians want to talk about Guardians.
Oh, no.
Or about the state of the association or whatever. But
no one wants to rock the boat, old man. We know this.
Yeah.
Apart from you.
Well, if people ask me a question, I'll give them an answer.
You're too honest.
I don't, it's not about caring. I do care for the association.
Yeah, I know. And I mean,
to happen.
Oh yeah,
to make things work, you have to do something about it.
Right, but according to some people, you're what you were a fake Lau Gar member, or
yeah.
Were they talking about me? I don't know.
Yeah, apparently I'm a fake Lau Gar member because I haven't got a big FA license right now.
Oh dear, you haven't? You're not licensed?
No. You know why? Because it serves no purpose in Canada. That's why. because it wouldn't pay out if I was injured. That's why. That's what a license is. It's an insurance policy and a record book. Well, I had a record book and it's got all my records in it.
Well,
I don't need another record book. I don't need to update the license. I've still got the record book. I don't need a new license because the license is simply insurance.
Yeah, well, I've got my record book. Mine, like you said, over there. I got all my signatures. I even got Match the Hour squiggle in mine.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just like, okay.
I've got all my certificates still.
So have I.
Yeah.
Love them. You know, so yeah, I genuinely didn't realise that you, in order to be, you know, to be a genuine Lau Gar practitioner, you need a little license book. I didn't know this. Oh my God!
In that case, the association is about 80% smaller than it was originally. If everybody has to have a license, believe me.
Just don't ask Master Yao if he's got a license. You know. Just saying.
I don't think he needs to.
Right, but, guys, we're loving it. You know, from one fake Lau Gar member to another fake Lau Gar member, and to all you genuine listeners who have joined us tonight or today, whenever it is you're listening to us. We thank you very much for tuning in to another, you know, droning on episode of the Kung Fu Podcast. We hope you understood where we were coming from, or at least maybe gained a bit of insight there. If you liked what we do here, if you like the vibe or whatever, get on, like us on YouTube, Facebook. You know, we're on Spotify, Podbean, you know, iTunes, all the rest of it. So subscribe to us and all the rest. You'll be doing us a great favor. You know, we put our hearts on our sleeve, people, for you. We don't tell no lies. We don't tell no, we don't big ourselves up. We put it all out there. Yeah, we're like that. Maybe it's a weakness, maybe it's a strength. I don't know. But we'll keep doing it. We got a lot more to bitch about, right? We got a lot more to bitch about. Plenty. But thank you for joining us, guys, and take care of yourselves. Stay safe. And from me, James Still, goodbye.
And from me.
Oh, thank you.
I was just thinking, you know, Lau Gar is what we're all about. So
100%.
Let's talk Lao.
I bleed Lau Gar, people. Bleed it. Bleed it.
Life is Lao. Lao is life.
Right.
I said that to Master Yao when my mother died, and he said he commiserated. You know, he said, you know, sorry to hear that. And my answer straight away back to him was, he said, keep training. And I said, Lao is life. Life is Lao. Whatever.
There you
the
go.
Other way around.
Well, what a beautiful little anecdote to end on there, Mr. Newby.
Yeah.
you get your money's worth with us, people. You get your money's worth.
Being honest.
Well, that's it. Being honest. But they crucify you for it, you know. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Right. We're going to go. Take care, people. Be safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Concentrate on your enemy's weak points. The eyes, the throat, the knackers.
Hi guys, thanks so much for joining us on the Kung Fu Podcast. If you like that and you want to find out more about us, you can head over to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram or YouTube and find us under SJN Martial Arts. And also guys, this podcast is available on Podbean and iTunes. So until next time, take care of yourselves and we'll see you again on the Kung Fu Podcast.
Karate punch is like an iron bar, whack. A Kung Fu punch is like an iron chain with an iron ball attached to the end and it go whang.
Can you break a log like that?
Don't know. Never been attacked by tree.
I was just wondering if the whole point of this was a precursor to that, because you're open to get to that position. you're opening yourself up.
Yeah, you are. But there's lots of different things you can use it for, you know. I mean, as you go in like that,
yeah,
hovering, yes, because you're going to go out, but you're blocking too.
Mm.
So now you could be grabbing someone's arm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you could be scratching at someone. Do you know what I mean? So it all depends on the angles.
Right.
You know, so, and of course, you could also be grabbing someone's arm, and then you know you're sitting down,
Yeah.
you're moving to the right.
Yeah, you're tall.
Throwing them.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. Because you've always...
Yeah, but this is, protect it because you're lifting your arms up. It's like, that's why we don't do this.
Yeah, the bong sound, the high bong sound. I was watching, there's a guy who commented, and called Lee, on the blog spot earlier on. And I was scrolling through some of his videos, and I'll be honest with you, I thought, okay, that's a really innovative application of that. And I'll tell you what he did. But then I come to think, and I think, well, are you overanalyzing a move? Is there such thing? So what he did is basically got someone head in there and then turned it into a head in there. It was like that. He turned it into a sort of choke, holding them from behind,
You can do that.
Now, I was just wondering, at what point does the intention of the move in the form, you start to go way, I mean, you're in the ballpark, and then you're quite far, on the edge of it, on the limits, and then you're out of the limits. At what point does it become that?
When it starts not being the move that you made. So I guess as you go like that, as you come in like that to bring your arm up, I can
do the headlock. Yeah. I get that. I get that. I do the headlock. I do the choke that way.
Yeah.
But the choke he was sort of talking, which I thought, okay, that's an interesting point. It's before that. He's going round and then he's coming under.
No, but you see, if you go like that, this hand could be getting against the person's head, and then just rolling him, under the arm.
It was like that. So he had someone be like, and then the other arm. You see what I mean? Their head was here.
Yeah.
He was, using that. As a child, I'd need a head, but.
Yeah. No, I don't see why not. I'd have to see it actually in action.
Yeah, I'll show it you afterwards. No, I just thought, okay, that's interesting. But I like to. It's the point at which it like you said, it ceases to look like the movement.
You know as well as I do that the move in a set is not the same as a move done. In reality.
Yeah, I understand.
If he can get to that within the spectrum of that move, within the spectrum of that set, which I think he could.
Yeah.
I see no reason.
Well, I did one for Craig a while back, and it was, someone grabs your wrist and you do that. Then you can put your elbow on it.
Yeah.
And then you could affect them with an elbow lock, for doing that. And you end up in that same move.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm doing that. But that doesn't matter. I'm still in that.
You're just applying the move, but it's got to be applied. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with... You see, the thing is, rather than say it doesn't work, if it works, even if it doesn't look, if it's kind of derived from it...
Yeah, it is, I'd say.
Then it's applying the techniques. It's applying the techniques. If you say, okay... At this point in time now, it's not that technique, then you are kind of limiting it. Do you know what I mean? Kind of saying, right, well, we only do this. But no, don't just do it as long as you can derive it from the move in terms of actual usage. And if it looks like something else, then it could be from another move. The only problem isn't whether the technique is you know, whether it works. It's whether it's derived from that specific movement. It could still work, but just not be in that set.
Yes. Yeah. It's absolutely.
Like, I'll give it a simple example.
Yeah.
Is Fujao when you do look at number 7.
Yeah.
And you go
it's the
like
same
that,
move,
right? Well, some people will grab.
Yeah.
But it's not a tiger
strike.
now. But it doesn't make any difference because
the
you've
same
applied
move.
grab.
Yeah.
So it's not an issue in terms of, I mean, it's only an issue if you want to be pedantic and say, yeah, but it's called a tiger claw, which is what I do a lot. It's called a tiger claw. So in the training of it, it's not a grab, but there's nothing wrong with applying it. If someone has got you and you rotate and then grab them.
Yeah, because it's ultimately an anatomical move.
Yeah.
Whether you call it a tiger claw or not, that
that's
shouldn't
right.
affect the outcome or bearing of that intended.
Yeah, because we haven't got claws, or because we're not tigers, but the initial intention is the tenacity of the tiger, not just the shape of the tiger. Because if you had to make the shape of the tiger, you'd have much bigger teeth.
Yeah,
simple.
Yeah,
you can't do it.
No, I do. Yeah, no, it's great. I think we should. Yeah, no, it's just. It was the point at which what I was interested in hearing you was the point at which it ceases to become, or you've and that's not accounting for, like you said, interpretation of a similar move from a different part of it.
Yeah,
I'm just,
but
at what point does it not become that move?
But we all know that the moves are repeated in lots of different forms.
Right, yeah.
So therefore, you apply it from the particular move, the particular form.
Yeah.
But it may not be.
Yeah.
It might not be relevant to that.
Yeah. Scenario
particular
or whatever.
situation.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean to say it can't work in another situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
The same move, just done in a different way.
I think we should talk about that. I think you should talk about that.
Well, we just have been talking about that.
No, you know what I mean. Like, go a bit more on it, because that is about interpreting sets, and that's about interpreting teaching people to not limit the scope of your interpretation.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
Yeah, we shouldn't apply any limits. And that's why, there's nothing wrong with going on the floor. There's nothing wrong with us, taking legs really high, taking legs really low. There's nothing wrong with any of it. It's how each individual, their preferences. But it doesn't mean to say Lau ends there.
Yeah.
Does it end there with them? Or does it end there, full stop?
Yeah.
And it doesn't, because it wouldn't have been so prolific. So we have to widen the scope. But that doesn't mean to say widen the scope and completely change the whole technique, the concept of the technique. But remember, the technique can be used for lots and lots of different ways. So it's got to be open. It's got to be open to interpretation.
Right.
Okay, so everyone should have and that's why we wanted that blog, so that people would interpret things in different ways. Not that we would argue about one particular thing, but people could say, yeah, I do it as a neck grab lock. I do it as a grab and a claw. I do it as a block, a grab and a throw. At each different point in time for that technique to work, with lots and lots of different options of using it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is martial
and that's the
arts.
same with all Lau Gar.
Yeah.
In all martial arts, but I think it's not about the people that learn it. It's about the people who teach it. And I think there's an awful lot of kung fu's that have kind of been derived from crap. And some people who learn it, obviously, they see it for what it is, and then other people just train it and maybe they're good enough to actually interpret something out of it that maybe not have been taught to them, and that's when that starts to look good. That's when it starts to be appreciated by
because it's self-discovery, and it's because you're transcending your so the normal, you tell me what it's for, I go great and then do it. But if I'm formulating ideas, or I have that ability, on some level to create a solution, to
open it up a little,
open it up,
Yeah, and whereas other people might not know what it's for, they just do the move just so they can look good, and that's the interpretation. That's the difference between different people who learn martial arts. You're going to have people who, well, they learn just to look good, and then you have people who learn and try to interpret its meaning.
But also you've got people who will just learn by rote.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They just learn to look good.
Yeah, but what I mean is they'll get given a solution, and that'll be it. Yeah. So they'll go, oh, that's it. Next. And then because there's some level of interpretation of the technique for them, they feel that job has been accomplished, so they move on. Whereas it's a never-ending thing.
But they gain nothing in the end, because they won't remember necessarily, or if they do, it won't work in a specific scenario. It'll only work for that specific situation.
Yeah.
Well, that's no good, because no situation is specific. It's flowing.
Yeah. Is it a bit like jazz? You got to improvise.
Yeah, could say that. Yeah, a bit like jazz.
I don't know. I think jazz is shit, but I was just wondering. I'm not a jazz guy. I'm a rock man.
Well, I like anything. So, but where did rock come from?
Came from
experimentation with the same tune.
Yeah.
Experimentation with the same instruments.
I appreciate all music has a lineage, but I like sort of Eddie Van Halen Kundo.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.